Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be taking a look at Are You Really Okay by Sleep Token. I think this is probably a good time to remind you guys that I have done reactions to all the songs on This Place Will Become Your Tomb and every song before this on the album so far, and I have organized them into playlists by album. So I only say this because I am going to reference back to some of those songs today to talk about Are You Really Okay? So it may be better viewing if you watch my reactions in order, or if you just want to watch that one, that's cool. However you want to enjoy the content, I'm glad you guys seem to be liking it. So we're going to hop right into Are You Really Okay?
I raised you in the dark, caught you reading by the sunrise. You wandered from the path through the silence of the hillside. Don't you know I could see it in you even then? And don't you know I was trying to hold back the darkness?
Man. So the first thing that strikes me about this song is its context in the album. So we just finished up Ascensionism. We go straight into this song. Ascensionism ended on a very heavy ending, so we're immediately jerked right back into this really intimate. It's just kind of a clean guitar sound and Vessel singing, which I do want to say we don't hear a whole lot of this clean guitar sound from Sleep Token. I find that they tend to use synths and piano a lot more often when they want to kind of bring things down. But I really like this. I'm a guitar player, so I like hearing this kind of intimate stuff as well. And I think it's worth pointing out here that Vessel has kind of gone back to his style of singing where it's very, I don't know how to describe it. It's like very in the back of his throat, really low, really expressive, which is a little bit different than we've heard on some of the previous tracks, especially Ascensionism, where he does some screaming, he does some of this like R&B kind of straightforward singing, but here he's back to kind of what I would say is kind of the classic sound for Sleep Token, where he's really expressive, really low in his register there, where the timbre of his voice is kind of more, I don't know, visceral and low.
Back the darkness. And are you really okay? Are you really okay?
I think why people connect with him so emotionally is because if you hear like the vibrato on the end of every one of the lines of this, it's like he's about to, burst into tears or something. It really just sells the song, and I'll kind of point it out here. Like right there where he just lets it trail off. Added a little piano melody over top.
You woke me up one night, dripping crimson on the carpet.
flow right there.
Don't you know I can see it in you even now? And don't you know I want to help you, but I don't know
I really love this part of their sound where it's just heavy guitars or distorted guitars rather, just holding on the chords, and you hear these piano chord progressions going on in the back. It's just a really cool, powerful sound to me, even for a song that is somewhat simple in structure like this one is. It really just brings a dimension to it that sounds huge, which you can kind of hear in the background here. Also, like, the drummer can't even take a break on this song. Going nuts. So even when the song is basically a rock ballad, it's still very heavy lyrically. Obviously, there's a lot of pain in this song. Um, even though it's simple structure, right? Here is where they've once again taken vocals, Vessel's vocals, push them forward, and let him drive the song. Even though there's nothing groundbreaking going on here, it's about capturing the vibe more so than showing off. Although the drummer didn't get the memo because he still kind of went off during the bridge. He's just incapable of just doing a straight beat, which I kind of love about him. He's gonna like noodle over everything, and it sounds good. I'm not trying to insult him in that way. I think it's very impressive that even on something like this, he can still make interesting drum parts. So obviously, with this song, I've seen kind of the discourse around it. This is either people's favorite song on the album or their least favorite song on the album. Um, for me personally, I mean, it definitely hits the emotional chord. I'm not as interested in the instrumentals on this one as some of the others, and that's okay. I'm not saying it's a bad song by any means. It's still a great song, but it's just not as musically interesting for me. However, I know some people deeply connect with the material that's being discussed in the lyrics, which, um, from a first pass listen, of course, it's very obvious what this song is about. It seems that Vessel is dealing with someone who is engaging in self harm, does not know how to help them, does not know what he can do. All he's left is asking the question, are you really okay? Where do you really stand? Is there any way for me to really do anything about this. It's helplessness, right? And it's kind of a universal, very strong feeling I feel like every person has had. And I think that's why so many people like this song, is because it really hits an emotional note in its simplicity of its message. However, as with Sleep Token, I think there are multiple interpretations we can take here, and there's stuff going on a little bit beneath the surface. Um, oh, let me make sure you guys can see this. Yeah. So if we look at the lyrics, they're not super complicated. However, my interpretation of this song is that Vessel is messing around with perspective. And what I mean by that is I don't think the song is Vessel talking to someone else. And I'll kind of back that up here. Um, well, the first thing that catches me is he says, whoops, I raised you in the dark, caught you reading by the sunrise. Well, I immediately think of Dark Signs when I think of this. He says, where I was raised, there was no street lights in Dark Signs. So this makes me immediately think that the subject here is Vessel, that someone is talking about Vessel himself, especially with the idea of dark and sunrise, right? This is a very, Sleep Token is very interested in exploring like day and night as not literal day and night, but as metaphors, right? It says, you wandered from the path through the silence of the hillside. It says, don't you know I could see it in you even then? And don't you know I was trying to hold back the darkness? So I think there's two interpretations of what this could be. If we take the literal interpretation of Vessel in Dark Signs saying that he was raised where there in the dark, where there were no streetlights, maybe this is his mother talking to him. However, I think it may be a little bit more metaphorical than that, because I think this may be Sleep trying to talk to him here. And the reason I say that is because obviously his ex-lover, who it seems has died, only visits him at night. So I raised you in the dark kind of makes sense. Caught you reading by the sunrise. You wandered from the path. Now, this is where I really think this might be Sleep talking to Vessel, because in the last song, in the very last song, Ascensionism, it seemed to kind of be Vessel trying to break away from Sleep. So she would see that as him wandering from the path. And obviously, what she wants is, or what she says she wants, is for Vessel to, she wants to hold back the darkness that is inside Vessel. So she asks, are you really okay? Which makes me wonder if the next verse, which is the most explicit in the self-harm imagery, right? You woke me up one night, dripping crimson on the carpet. I saw it in your eyes, cutting deeper than the scars could run. I wonder if this is still Sleep talking to Vessel, maybe even from the outside perspective of what happened in Atlantic. So if you think about the opening track on This Place Will Become Your Tomb, Atlantic very heavily implies, almost directly, that Vessel, there was a suicide attempt, right? So I'm wondering if this is kind of Sleep seeing this from a different perspective, saying, hey, I saw this happen, and I see it in you even now. It could happen again. And kind of offering this helping hand. However, I think there is a darker side to this if we take this from the perspective of Sleep. Because Sleep is this obsessive dark force in Vessel's life, and I think this might be a last-ditch effort on her part to draw him back in, to say, look what happened before, I can help you. Are you really okay? Do you really want to do this? Do you really want to cut ties? And we get, I cannot fix your wounds this time. I don't believe you when you tell me you are fine. It's almost like emotional manipulation to some degree if you read it from this perspective. with a please don't hurt yourself again, come back to me, let me help you. If that's what's happening here, that's my interpretation of this. And it's how I kind of square away its position on the album as well, because it comes right after Ascensionism. So it seemed like a really weird time for Vessel to be reflecting or in this way about Sleep, right? His ex who has passed away. To me, this kind of seems like it could be a manipulation tactic on her part. Now, of course, I don't know that that's the case, but I do have a little bit of strong evidence in the album artwork. So this looks like, to me, a female character. There's a couple things here. There's kind of like this hourglass shape. There seems to be what looks like maybe like lipstick on here. Everything about the hands looks more feminine, right? What's interesting about this is if this is supposed to represent Sleep, if we look from the kind of the torso down, everything now looks robotic, synthetic, right? Which would go along with the themes in the last song, Ascensionism, that have been kind of building up to talking about Sleep as more of this artificial being. And even more evidence, I think, is we get what looks like an umbilical cord that's attached to maybe like some kind of incubator that has what looks to be a fetus or a baby inside it. If you ever played the game Death Stranding, it reminds me a lot of the baby in that game. But I think symbolically what could be happening here is this is Sleep trying to protect Vessel in her own way. This is kind of the image she wants to present as a defender, as someone to coddle him, keep him safe, right? A mother figure, even, as we can see with maybe the baby imagery here. And even the way that she is holding this sword does not look aggressive. I think the whole idea is that maybe she's presenting herself as a defender now. However, this is at odds with the way that Sleep has been depicted in the previous songs. If we go back to Vor, we see that she's depicted as this very organic, nasty-looking character, very threatening. And then if we go to Ascensionism, it looks like she is kind of cloaked. Cloaked in this robe, and we can't really see her form. So I think there's a transformation in the way that Vessel views her, from this very organic, violent thing to not really knowing what to think, kind of considering everything that has happened. And now we have this artificial mother type being that is kind of coded here as a defender. And I think that we can tell that this is supposed to be Sleep because the helmet here looks to be the same to me. So there is a little bit of consistency in the artwork to bring me this conclusion. So I'm curious what you guys think, as always. Do you think I kind of got to something here, or do you think I'm overthinking it? That's what I feel for this song. If you want to continue thinking of it as more of a, a cry for help type of song, like a helpless, like Vessel's helpless trying to help her, then I think that is a perfectly fine interpretation too. But digging a little bit deeper, I'm going to hold to this one that it's almost like manipulation tactic, a last-ditch effort by Sleep to convince Vessel that he still needs her. So that being said, that is my analysis of this song. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, you can help me out, give me a like, subscribe if you want to see more. I will be doing the rest of the album, and leave a comment if you have something that you think you can add to the song or disagree with me. I'd love to see it. And I will see you on the next one.